Welcome! In this video, we'll be tackling an equation and solving for a variable using two different yet equally valid methods. Our objective is to learn and apply two distinct strategies to find the value of b in the equation b plus 3 squared equals 9. The equation we're working with is a quadratic equation, which means there will be two possible answers. We'll explore two great ways to find both of them. Let's get started with our first method. Our first approach is called the square root method. This method is perfect for when you have a squared term isolated on one side of the equation. Our equation, b plus 3 squared equals 9, fits this description perfectly. The goal is to get rid of the exponent of 2. The opposite operation, or inverse, of squaring something is taking its square root. So, our first step is to take the square root of both sides of the equation. The square root of b3 squared is simply b3. This is because the square root and the square cancel each other out. Now for the crucial part. When you solve an equation by taking the square root, you must remember that there are two possible answers. Think about it. 3 squared is 9, but negative 3 squared is also 9. That means the square root of 9 is both positive 3 and negative 3. We use the plus or minus symbol to represent this. This single equation, b plus 3 equals plus or minus 3, actually represents two separate equations. The first equation is b plus 3 equals 3, and the second is b plus 3 equals negative 3. It's essential to solve both. Let's solve the first one. We subtract 3 from both sides, which gives us b equals 0. For the second equation, b plus 3 equals negative 3, we also subtract 3 from both sides. This gives us b equals negative 6. So, using the square root method, we found two solutions for b, 0 and negative 6. It's a quick and efficient method when the conditions are right. Now let's explore our second method for solving the exact same equation. This is a very common and reliable technique. We call this the standard form method. Again, our equation is b plus 3 squared equals 9. Our first goal with this method is to expand the squared term and rearrange the equation into a standard quadratic form. The standard form of a quadratic equation is a times x squared plus b times x plus c equals 0. We'll be aiming for this structure with our variable b. Let's start by expanding b plus 3 squared. B plus 3 squared means b plus 3 times b plus 3. Using the FOIL method, we multiply the first terms, b squared, the outer terms, 3b, the inner terms, 3b, and the last terms, 9. This gives us b squared plus 3b plus 3b plus 9. Combining the like terms, 3b and 3b, we get b squared plus 6b plus 9. So our expanded equation is b squared plus 6b plus 9 equals 9. Next, we need to get one side of the equation to equal 0. We can do this by subtracting 9 from both sides. When we subtract 9 from both sides, the 9's cancel out, leaving us with b squared plus 6b equals 0. Now we are in a form we can solve. So we've reached the equation b squared plus 6b equals 0. Now we need a method to solve for b. A great way to solve quadratic equations in this form is by factoring. Factoring means writing the expression on the left as a product of two or more terms. Notice that both b squared and 6b have a common factor of b. We can factor out this common b. This gives us b times the quantity b plus 6 equals 0. Now we use a very powerful concept called the zero product property. It states that if you have two things multiplied together that equal 0, then at least one of those things must be 0. In our case, we have two factors, b and b plus 6, that are multiplied together to equal 0. Therefore, either b equals 0 or the quantity b plus 6 equals 0. The first part gives us one of our solutions directly. b equals 0. For the second part, b plus 6 equals 0. We just need to subtract 6 from both sides to solve for b. This gives us b equals negative 6, and there you have it. Using the standard form and factoring, we arrived at the exact same two solutions, 0 and negative 6. So we've now solved the equation b plus 3 squared equals 9 using two different methods. Let's compare them. Both the square root method and the standard form method led us to the same two correct answers. b equals 0 and b equals negative 6. The square root method is very direct and efficient, but it only works when you have a term squared on one side of the equation and no other single b term. The standard form method, while a little longer, is much more general. It can be used for any quadratic equation, even if it's messy or can't be factored, using techniques like the quadratic formula. Let's quickly verify our answers by plugging them back into the original equation. First, for b equals 0. Plugging it in gives us 0 plus 3 squared, which is 3 squared, and 3 squared is 9. That checks out. Next, for b equals negative 6. Plugging it in gives us 6 plus 3 squared, which simplifies to 3 squared. Negative 3 squared is also 9. Both solutions are correct. Today, you've seen two powerful strategies for solving quadratic equations. You've now achieved our learning objective. You can solve an equation like this using both the square root method and the standard form method. Great job!